Hey, Rainbow here, and welcome to my channel. A couple weeks ago, I had an opportunity to ride, guess what? The Ducati Supersport 950. Now, I didn't get a chance to ride the Ducati Supersport 950S, which has a little bit of a different cowling on the back and a better suspension, but nonetheless, I got a chance to take out the Ducati Supersport 950, the 2022 version, and I was actually quite impressed. I thought it was a little bit more ergonomic because it's not in, a real super sport, like sport bike, not super sport, but sport bike type mode for riding position. And anyway, let's take a look at what we have. Thanks. Beautiful 2022 Supersport 950 by Ducati. Has a 937cc testa stretta 11-degree L twin. This thing will do, or it has about 110 horsepower at the crank, and that's at about 9,000 RPM, a little lower than I was anticipating, but it is a twin. And 69, almost 70 foot-pounds of torque at 6,500 RPM. So I think this is looking pretty good right now. This bike weighs about 405 pounds, or let's call it 184 kilograms for those in the real world that use metric. Seat's about 31.9 inches high. Now, I have a 32-inch inseam. I'm 5'11" and a half. Well, I used to be 5'11" and a half. Who knows what I am now, but I still have a 32-inch inseam, and this bike is completely comfortable. I'll talk about it more once we get to riding it. Now, this beautiful bike has about 3 riding modes. It's going to be urban, touring, and sport. It does come with Bosch cornering ABS, has of course Ducati traction control and Ducati wheelie control to take some of the fun out of it, but that's all adjustable. We are looking at a 6-speed tranny with a quick shifter that's up and down. This bike has a slipper and servo wet clutch. Now, the front suspension is fully adjustable, all right, as the Marzocchi forks, and that's about 43 millimeter. And back here, in typical Ducati fashion, we're looking at a adjustable Sachs monoshock. Looks good. Yellow. What else would you expect from Ducati, right? Of course, this is liquid cooled, but let's talk about the front. All right, front has 17-inch 120/70 ZR17s on it. The rear, of course, has a 180/55 ZR17, and they are sporting the, drumroll please, well, the Pirelli Diablo Rosso 2s. Now, as you can see, we have a single-sided swing arm on this bike to make it sporty. We do have the dual exhaust. On the front, we have dual M4-32 Brembos with 320 millimeter discs. Way there in the back, kind of hidden, there is a 245 millimeter single disc in regular Ducati fashion. So let's take a peek at some more. All right, safety gear is on, and let's throw a leg over this puppy and see how it feels. I can tell you that just bringing it over here, I hit some bumps in a manhole cover, and it actually felt really good. I was honestly quite surprised. So let's see what we got going on here. All right, let's turn it on. I know I'm in touring mode. It also has the lap timer on, which I'm not going to use. Yeah, touring. Okay. Ready? Well, let's fire it up. Ooh. Oh my, that sounds good. I kind of like it. I kind of like it. All right. Away we go. All right, so first thing is riding position, all right? You kind of think you're on a sport bike. Well, it's a super sport, but to be quite honest with you, It's relatively comfortable. Now, how much time I can do on this, if I keep my back hunched over, it's going to be a little bit of a problem. But if I dip my back in and sit a little straighter up, it definitely feels a lot better. Now, surprisingly, I have very little to no weight on my hands. Now, that's not going to be the case with the V2, but with this thing, I got to tell you, it is really quite comfortable, and the leg position is good. All right, now that's with me with the 32-inch inseam. If you're a taller person, I have a feeling you're going to feel a little bit cramped on this bike, because I know some people who got on the multi-strada V4S and they're taller, and they actually said they felt a little cramped. They wanted a taller bike, and I was like, wow, that's kind of a surprise. But I suppose once you get up into the 6'2" range and so on, you'll have that. All right, traffic looks good. Let's take it for a spin. All right, so with the wind is off my body, it's not off the head, but what are you expecting with a sport bike? I'm supposed to be down like this. Of course, it's not a super bike, it's a super sport. I know I keep saying that, but hey, this is a really comfortable bike. I mean, this is a really nice bike to ride. So if you're coming from a sport bike, you're going to say, hey, this is a little more comfortable for sure. If you're thinking about coming from something where you're a little bit more upright, such as an adventure, well, then you're certainly going to feel the difference. But honestly, it's a pretty good position and overall very comfortable. Definitely has some get up and go. And you've heard this complaint, and this is something with almost all V2s. If you haven't noticed, my mirrors are just shaking violently right now, and I'm down to like 3,000 RPM. I'm not really putting anything on it. I'm in 5th gear going 46 miles an hour. There, I'll downshift. And yeah, the mirrors, I mean, you can see in the rear mirrors, they're not absolutely horrible, but they're also not great as far as I'm concerned. All right, let's take it on the highway and see how it feels on the highway. I'll have a better idea with the wind situation. All right, let me get alongside this guy. Now, I am completely flat-footed now, all right? 100% flat-footed at this time with no issues at all. Let's see what we got here. Let me adjust these a little bit better for myself. Now, you can't go by what you see because the camera is about equal with my chin where my eyes, so you're not seeing what I'm seeing in the mirrors, of course. So this bike is, I'm going to call it relatively narrow. I do like the feel of it, and let's go. Now, I can't get crazy because these tires haven't been scrubbed in, as you saw. We still had a sticker in the beginning because I literally just drove it across the parking lot to a quieter area to start things off. I don't plan on pushing this bike because it's not broken in yet. I'm not even going to take it to sport mode. I don't really think it's going to be necessary. I want to not ruin my privileges with Two Wheels World or Forza Ducati. Certainly don't want to ruin any privileges with them because they let me ride a lot of bikes such as this one right here. And anyway, engine braking, not too shabby. I'm keeping this in third gear to kind of feel the engine braking. Very smooth bike at this speed. Now, ergonomically, if you can hear me, because it is a little bit loud with the wind, but honestly, I felt like the wind was worse the other day when I was on the Triumph Tiger 900 Rally Pro. This is doing a pretty darn good job with the wind, but ergonomically, everything seems to be right in place and real easily accessible. And because I don't have a lot of weight on my front hands, it really, it just seems really easy to ride. It's a really easy bike to ride. It's quite enjoyable. All right. Let's see what we got going on here. The brakes feel fantastic. Not too hard, and certainly has plenty of power though. Kind of like it, very smooth. I'm doing everything with 2 fingers on here, and it seems to be working rather well. I think stock right out of the factory, the bike sounds pretty darn good. You can of course hear it. That part is good, but feeling a little bit of heat, which I'm expecting certainly with a bike like this where everything is really close to where you sit. That's something Ducati's known for, but once you're up and riding, there are no issues at all with this bike. I mean, this bike is quite comfortable. All right, brakes. Looking behind me for people being idiots. All right. Something's loud up there. That's what's loud. Whatever that thing is. All right. Make sure everybody stops behind me. So I'll talk about the mirrors again. They vibrate like hell. Kind of difficult to see really well behind you. I think we're going to use the right mirror to really check the lane and use the left mirror to do 2 things. That left mirror is going to check the lane alongside me and look kind of behind me. Should have a little bit of a motorcycle popping up alongside me right now. And all right, we shall continue. has plenty of power, plenty of get up and go. I have really no complaints about this bike. Feels pretty darn good, as a matter of fact. Very nimble. Very nimble bike, feels fantastic. I want to go over railroad tracks again. Feels good. Really took those bumps rather well, and this is a fully adjustable suspension, which is really nice. I'll tell you, this bike is a winner. It really is. If you don't want a sport bike and you want something that's a little more ergonomic, and you want something that has some power, this is a fantastic bike for that. I really have to tell you, look, I'm intentionally going over manhole covers just to see how this thing feels. The quick shifter seems pretty good, even on the downshift, as you can tell. It's such a tight radius on this bike because it's so nimble. Fantastic, really feels good. Definitely a good feeling bike here. Now, the menu. It works perfectly fine, and there are different modes that we talked about, the three, the urban, touring, and sport. Well, so there you have it. I thought that the 950 Supersport, or Supersport 950 from Ducati, is a really good bike, really good feel. You can really tell that it comes with the Ducati quality. There are other bikes out there that have similar design, that have similar specs, but honestly, the feel that you get from the Ducati is high-end. You're paying for it, and you should expect more, and it looks like they delivered more. The question is, and I think I would like to see some comments in below, if you were to go to the track, would you rather take the Supersport 950, or with the same engine, would you rather take the Hypermotard? Good question. Which one of those two base models would you prefer to take to a track? Which one you think you'd have more fun with? Let me know. This is Rainbow. Like and subscribe. Thank you, and have a good day.